So we're now going to talk about another set of factory method operators in the Flux class. And these are going to be the range and interval operators. And they are going to create different types of streams in various scheduler contexts. So let's talk about interval first. So interval creates a flux that emits long values starting with 0. And the parameter that you pass in indicates how long to wait before emitting the next flux. The next long. So this is a duration, and a duration can be used to keep track of things in seconds, milliseconds, microseconds, and so on. So basically what it does is it'll emit these values at regular intervals, once a second, once every half second, whatever. It uses the scheduler's parallel scheduler. We haven't really talked about that yet, but it's just another scheduler. It's kind of like new parallel that we talked about before. The difference being that parallel is baked into the daemon thread mechanisms that are part of Java. And so you don't have to explicitly shut them down the way you do new parallel. There are other overloaded interval methods that can designate what scheduler you want to use. It uses the scheduler's parallel scheduler by default, but you can override it if you want. Under normal conditions, the flux will never complete. It'll just generate these values from 0 up to whenever it wraps back around again, forever, in this case, every half a second. We don't normally want it to go on forever. Sometimes you do, but we don't in most cases. So we're going to use some kind of limit here to take only that many iterations. And we'll talk about the take operator and show how that works. RxJava has an interval operator that works exactly the same way with the same results. No surprise. Let's talk about the range operator. This is used to build a flux that will only emit a sequence of values from the start to the count. So it'll emit count values starting at start, whatever you give as start. And you can see that these are going to be integers. So starting at start and going up to start plus count, it'll emit them, and it will then complete. You can see that that's what that looks like here. And it returns a ranged flux that contains the count elements. So however many you want, it'll return that many. This basically is a reactive for loop. This is the best way to think about it. So in this case, we're going to loop from I = 1 up to S max iterations. Let's say it's 10 for, just for sake of argument. And it'll generate values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, starting at the start value. RxJava has a range method that works in exactly the same way. And no surprise, Java Streams also has a method similar to this. It's got a couple of different variants. This is the one for int stream. It has range closed, which goes from 1 up to and including S max iterations. There's also a range method that will not include the final value. There's not really quite an equivalent in RxJava, though it's easy to do that by subtracting 1 from the value you pass as the, well, I guess that's not true. You have to think more about how to do that in RxJava. And there's also a long stream class in Java Streams that has this range and range close methods on it. There's also double stream. There's a whole slew of different operators, different classes in Java Streams that will give you the semantics that are very similar to the range operator in RxJava and Project Reactor. So that's just a quick overview of these two other factory methods.